Hey friend, Chris here from LogicProRules.com, the website that helps you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro. Well, my friend, after many years of hoping and speculating, Logic Pro for iPad is finally here. I gotta say, any expectation or threshold that I had for the app on iPad has been dramatically exceeded. Logic Pro for iPad is a new all-in-one professional music creation app that puts the power of Logic Pro at your fingertips. Literally. Logic has an all-new interface that's been optimized for the iPad. And with the power of multi-touch, you can play expressive software instruments with the tap of a finger, interact naturally and intuitively with software instrument and plug-in controls, adjust multiple faders and channel strips simultaneously in the professional mixer, and swipe, pinch, and play your way across the application to your heart's content. All right, we got a lot to cover in today's video, so let's just dig in. Obviously, the big headline feature here is that Logic Pro is finally on the iPad. And thanks to multi-touch, you can finally work within the application in ways that just was not possible in the past. First, navigating around your projects is as simple as swiping on screen. You can easily traverse from one end of your project to the other with a single swipe, as well as select individual tracks, as well as regions, just by tapping on screen. You can solo and mute individual tracks, or a selection of tracks just by swiping across. Begin playback of your project. Or we can move the playhead further down the project. And so much more. For example, just by pinching your fingers across the screen, you can zoom in and out of any section of your projects. So by moving my fingers up and down towards the top and bottom of the iPad, we can zoom vertically into our project. And if I zoom or pinch to the left and right of the iPad, we can zoom in and out horizontally. And if I pinch towards the corners of the iPad or in a more diagonal direction, you can zoom in and out in both directions simultaneously. Let's go to the bottom of this project and select this last software instrument track. Now you can instantly begin performing and recording with the included software instruments in Logic using play surfaces, which can be found in the bottom right-hand corner in the application. Play surfaces provide you with expressive professional instruments that you can play on screen just by pressing with your fingers. And play surfaces provide you with a variety of different ways of interacting with the instruments, whether it be with a keyboard, drum pads, fretboard, chord strips, as well as guitar strips. From here, we can edit our performance using the edit window. And from here, we could select individual notes and make edits to them, such as move a note, as well as extend, and be able to fine-tune this performance as much as necessary. But not only that, we can work with the brand new plugin tile view, which gives you an instant and compact view of the most important plugin and instrument controls, so you can get right down to shaping your sounds without having to open a plugin window each and every time you want to make an adjustment. For example, we could change the arpeggiator, no order, to play in random. Right from the plugin view. However, by double-clicking on a plugin tile, and if we expand the view here, you can get instant access to all of the controls related to your software instruments, MIDI effects, and audio effects. As you can see, as I introduce each individual window, they're stacking on one another instead of replacing one another. And we can easily customize the size of each section just by dragging on the right-hand corner of each section. Cool, so if we close some of these windows, we can also introduce the mixer and expand its view, which provides us with control over the entire session across the mixer. And we can swipe across or use the meter bridge to select specific sections of the mixer. And check it out, we can work with multiple faders simultaneously thanks to multi-touch, as well as mute and solo as necessary. All right, so the project that we're working with is an included project that comes with Logic Pro for iPad that you can download. The project is called Manzana, and it was created by famed production duo Take a Day Trip. But let's create a new Logic project so we can start to explore some of these new features to Logic Pro for iPad. To X out of this project, I'm going to click on the arrow in the upper left-hand corner. Just like with GarageBand for iPad and iPhone, the moment that you close out of a project, that project is saved and backed up to your iCloud account. Super handy for keeping your project safe and organized. And here you can see a view of all my recent projects for both Logic Pro for iPad and Logic Pro for Mac OS. If we go to the plus symbol in the upper right-hand corner, we can open a new project. At the top, we have the option to create a new empty project, whether it be in the tracks area of Logic or the Live Loops grid. But if you look below, we also have a lot of downloadable content to learn and explore and make music with Logic Pro for iPad. Of course, we have the Manzana project, but there's also a number of walkthrough tutorials to help you get acquainted with the application. So if we click on See All, you can see there are lessons, step-by-step walkthroughs to help you get acquainted with Logic Pro on the iPad. Whether it's to start a song, or get acquainted for GarageBand users, or you want to record a vocal, play a software instrument, or even some more advanced situations such as working with a step sequencer, sample Alchemy, a new plugin instrument in Logic Pro for iPad, Beat Breaker, and a whole bunch more. All right, let's press cancel. Underneath, we have featured sound packs, which we can scroll through or see all. Starting at the top, there are sound packs that you can download for all sorts of different genres, artist and producer packs, instrument packs, drummer and kits, plus essential and compatibility packs. Logic Pro for iPad includes an ever-expanding library of royalty-free sound packs and live loop grids and software instrument sounds that you can download and use for your own projects. Okay, let's click Done. Okay, from here, let's load a brand new project. Upon creating a new project, we are presented with a Create New Track dialog, and we have different options. We could load, for example, a MIDI track for software instruments, or an audio track that we can record to using a microphone or an instrument, a pattern region for software instruments, a drummer track, as well as patches, loops, and samples. I'm going to choose a drummer track, and just like that, we have a drummer track preloaded with a performance, and we can get right down to recording an idea alongside these drums. Let's take a quick listen to our drummer performance just to see what we're working with. Okay, I'm cool with that. The only thing I want to change is I want to set the fills to 0, just so this performance is slightly more straightforward. All right, let's close the drummer editor for now. From here, take a look at the left-hand side at the all-new browser for Logic Pro for iPad. This browser is completely reimagined for Logic Pro, which makes it easy for you to discover sounds and stay in your creative flow. If we navigate to the top level of the browser just by clicking on the left arrow, everything from instrument patches to audio patches, loops, samples, plugin presets, and patterns can be loaded from this one browser. For example, let's load an instrument patch. At the top, you can see this brand new filtering system right here that allows you to pick through different instruments as well as different descriptors of instruments. So we could choose drums as well as acoustic. And look at that. With the brand new predictive filtering system, the browser immediately updates, offering you the most relevant sounds that you may want to use for your production. And if we click on the filter button on the right-hand side here at the top in the browser, you can access every available filter to further hone in on that sound that you're hearing for your production. For example, I'm going to close out the drum filter as well as the acoustic filter, and I'll open all filters again. And I want to work with a synth, I think. And I think I want a synth that uses sampler as its instrument. Probably the best feature of the all-new browser is that you can finally audition sounds in the browser before you load them into your project. For example, all you have to do is click on the icons next to each title. Let's try this one. And perhaps this one. Cool, so I actually like that synth sound. So let's close out of the all filter window. And to load this instrument patch to a brand new track in our project, all we have to do is press and hold on the title and drag it into the tracks area to load a brand new track. There you have it. We're now ready to begin performing and recording with the software instrument patch. So let's close the library for now and open the Play Surface window. I'm going to change the Play Surface view just by clicking on the Play Surface button in the upper left-hand corner. And we can choose between a keyboard view as well as a drum pad view, fretboard, chord strips, and guitar strips. And if we select our trapdoor kit here, it automatically defaults to the most appropriate play surface, which would be drum pads. So I'll select my synth. I'll set this to chord strips, which offers an easy way to play entire chords with a single finger. So I'm going to expand the chord strip view so I have more room to work. Let's move the playhead back to the beginning of the project, record enable our track, and let's lay down an idea. Here we go. All right, so there's our idea. And we could even edit this performance once again by clicking on the editor. Let's close the play surface view. And we just take a look just by scrolling around. Okay, nothing looks too out of sorts, but to my ears, probably could be tighter. So let's open the inspector and set the quantize to that of 16th notes. And everything is now adjusted its timing. So if we return to the beginning, take a listen. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. All right, so let's now make some edits to our region itself. So I'll close the editor view. I like to loop this region so it's equal length with the drummer region. So right at the top here of the tracks area are different editing views. So to start, we have trim. If we select different regions in our project, we get these handles on the left and right hand side with which we can use to adjust the length of a region, either reducing its length or increasing it. Right? So I'll undo. Next up, we have the option to loop. So once again, by selecting a region, you get a loop handle on the right edge that you can use to loop your region as long as you need to. From there, we have a split tool. And we can adjust the split tool just by clicking and holding and dragging on that split tool icon. And once you've identified where you want to make a split, you just press, hold, and then drag downwards to split that region. And as you saw, because my press took a little longer than just a moment, Logic automatically zooms in so you can really see and fine-tune your edits. And after that, we can time stretch both audio regions as well as software instrument regions. So again, by selecting a region, we can click and hold on the handle to increase or decrease the speed of the performance to time stretch it. So let's take a listen from right here. Can be a really handy feature for producing and arranging. Once again, I'll undo. Additionally, there are buttons that allow you to select multiple regions in your project or deselect regions, as well as copy and paste your performances. So if we click and hold and drag, I've now copied and pasted this one performance further down the timeline. So we'll undo and zip right back. I'll change this back to trim. Let's now fine-tune the sound of the synth using plugin tiles. So I'll turn on cycle to loop this section, and I'll open the plugin tile view. And from here, you can easily see we can load a MIDI effect, adjust the volume for sampler, or add audio effects. For example, we could load Chromaverb. Now we have instant control of the decay time as well as how wet or dry our signal is using Chromaverb. So let's take a listen. Okay, I think that's pretty okay. I'm going to bypass it for now though, and I'm going to load an instance of the channel EQ. As a plugin tile, the channel EQ will give you an instant overview of what kind of EQ changes have been made or adjusted for this track, as well as show us the spectrum analyzer in real time. If we double click on the plugin tile, we open the full plugin view for the channel EQ. I plan on introducing a high-pass filter and set the channel processing to that of mid-only. And I'm going to remove just about everything below 800 hertz. Let's give it a try. All right, that sounds good to me. We can obviously tab through the different plugins across the instrument. So I can open Chromaverb and reintroduce it, or bypass it and interact with every control related to Chromaverb just by sliding or swiping down. Of course, we could do this in the mixer as well. We don't have to use the plugin tiles if we don't want to. But I find it a lot easier and faster instead of changing this mode to setup mode within the mixer here. So we could introduce, a plugin now as such or remove it. I find it a lot easier to use the plugin tiles instead. So let's add a new software instrument track. And we're going to load a particular instrument. If we go right here into the plugin tiles again, I'm going to load under Sampler, the brand new Sample Alchemy plugin. Sample Alchemy is a sample manipulation instrument based on the powerhouse Alchemy synth that comes with Logic Pro, allowing you to transform any audio you want into a malleable sound that you can perform. In the browser, you can drag loops and samples right into Sample Alchemy. So let's drag this 12-string strum sample right into Sample Alchemy. And you can see the sample is instantly loaded. Let's double click on the plugin and let's open a play surface so we can hear what's going on. Let's play a couple notes. Okay, so let's close the plugin tile and select Sample Alchemy. Open it back up and let's take a listen. Now that's pretty cool. And we could drag this source anywhere across the sample. To fine-tune our performance, which can be either granular, additive, or spectral synthesis. And we can add multiple sources. From there are multiple modes from which you can work. We're working with classic, but we can also loop, and we can see these loop points have been added to the display. But we can adjust this as we see fit. There's scrub. Bow. And we can adjust the bow rate as needed for each one of these sources. As well as arpeggiate. Sample Alchemy provides easy and instant fun for synthesizing samples and loops for your projects. Now there's a lot to dig through in Logic Pro for iPad, but the last thing I want to show you is Beat Breaker. Beat Breaker is a time and pitch morphing audio effect plugin for shuffling and reshaping your audio in real time. So I've gone ahead and laid down some bass and a melodic lead, and I even recorded myself speaking into this project. It sounds kind of funny to me, so I wanted to run with it. So first, let me press play so you can hear it.
Hey, a friend, Chris here from MyLogicProRules.com. Hey, a friend, Chris.
That's all you need to hear. That's the whole thing. And again, it sounds ridiculous, but I find it hilarious. So let's go ahead and open the library so we can paw through some different audio patches for vocals. All right, so let's just take a listen to what some of these might sound like. I think I might want to run with that dark choir. So let me load it. And let's now take a listen.
Hey, a friend, Chris here from MyLogicProRules.com. Hey, a friend, Chris here from
Okay, getting better. So let's now load the plugin tiles. And we can see all the plugins involved with this particular plugin chain for the dark choir. Let's go ahead and load the brand new multi-effect plugin, Beat Breaker. Let's double click to open Beat Breaker, and let's even expand the view. And with Beat Breaker, you split up your audio into different beats, and with it, you can process these different beats, whether it be adjusting their pitch, their timing, reversing a section. And luckily, Beat Breaker provides different presets that you can quickly paw through just by tapping on each individual preset. So if we change this maybe to halftime, take a listen. So a lot of creative opportunity right here. I personally really like the sleight of hand preset for this.
Hey, Chris, my Logic Pro rules. Hey, Chris, my Logic Pro rules. Hey.
I get it. It can be a lot to take in, but on the left-hand side of Beat Breaker, we have this section that shows us the audio in real time.
Hey, Chris, my Logic Pro rules. Hey.
And then by pressing and holding and dragging on the different beats, we can adjust the placement in terms of beats where this slice begins.
Chris, my Logic Pro rules. My Logic, Chris, my Logic Pro rules. My Logic friend, my Logic Pro rules.
Additionally, we can adjust the speed of these individual slices. If we just press and hold right there, take a listen.
My Logic Pro rules. My Logic, my Logic Pro rules. My Logic friend, my Logic Pro rules.
We can also adjust the curve of particular slices, either with the parameter right here, or just by pressing and turning as if you were turning a dial.
Friend, my Logic Pro rules. My Logic friend, my Logic Pro rules.
Which is pretty sick. Next, we have repeat, so we can add or remove repeats just by pressing, holding, and dragging once again. So let's add a couple, just to make sure we catch them.
Friend, my Logic Pro rules. My Logic Pro rules.
From there, we can adjust the volume of these individual slices. And on top of that, you can remove a slice just by double clicking or introduce a slice by double clicking. And over here on the right-hand side, we can adjust the length of which Beat Breaker does its work. You can work with something as short as a quarter beat. Or we can extend it, maybe to 8 beats.
Hey, Chris here from. Hey, friend, Chris here.
And on top of that, we have a mix control, so you can blend the effect of Beat Breaker as much as necessary. There you have it, my friend, Logic Pro for iPad, and this is just a quick walkthrough of the awesome new features that come with this version. It is worth pointing out that Logic Pro for iPad, for the very first time ever for the application, is being offered on a subscription basis, either at the rate of $4.99 US per month or $49 US annually. It'll be interesting how this develops specifically for macOS. If the last 10 years have been of any indication, I have no doubt that Apple is doubling down and showing its support for its Pro users, especially Logic Pro users. Thanks so much for exploring Logic Pro on iPad with me, and I'll talk to you later.